Today, let me throw it back to a two-time champ. One of only 5 guys who can say that. And the only dude ever in the history of the jungle who can claim 2 titles, 4 runner-up spots, 4 bronze medals, and 17 top 10s. 17 top 10s. Many of you listening would kill to be in one Smackoff. This guy's been in 1 plus 16. I'm talking about Iafrate, a legend's legend. A guy who first came into prominence in the early 90s. His first Smackoff call came back in 96. His last one came 20 years later in 2016. This dude has damn near spanned the entire life of the event. Many come and go. Not Iafrate. Remember that much maligned John Niems song about Michael Jordan's dad? Remember Niems and I went back and forth on that for a long, long time? Iafrate does.
How proud he must have been to be Michael's dad. Each time he'd hear the crowd cheer, how great it must have felt to be Michael's dad. Watching his...
Hey, all right, I got it. Time has not healed that wound. That's still an open wound, that song. That song sucked. And it sucked hard. No offense, Niems. Let's not restart this beef. You and I are good. That song's not, but you and I are. Anyway, Iafrate heard that and then rode that into a championship way back in Smackoff 10 when he reimagined that song for Brian Albers, who was preceding Alvin DeLauro on the board. He turned that into a parody called Whitey's Dad.
I would like to dedicate the remainder of my Smackoff call to one of the true quiet heroes in a jungle filled with noise. And so I offer this original composition of my own hands and heart in his honor and with deep gratitude. We've all been watching a guy on Romy's team perform like no albino ever has, and always behind him for the world to see, a beaming Mr. Albers, smiling Whitey's dad. How proud he must have been to be Whitey's dad. Each time he'd put a cart in, how great it must have felt to be Whitey's dad, watching his son hit the buzzer year after year.
Freaking chills. Goosebumps. Understand, that was 15 years ago, 16 years ago. Back then, nobody had tried singing before, let alone playing a live piano while they did it. That was the rare case where a parody made the call so much better. A parody won the Smackoff. That was an incredible moment. And then 4 years later, in '08, at Smackoff 14, Iafrate goes champ, double champ, with this takedown of Doc Mike.
Let's talk for a moment about Doc Mike DeTola. Now, I got to ask, where you been hiding, Michael? Overbooked with root canals, man? Because we've been here. We've been here taking on Eldrick every year while you've been off waving the white flag, you yellow-bellied coward. But let there be no doubt, okay? Tiger may be gone, chump, but you still got to deal with me. Right? And your stale reset of beating up the weak, like poor defenseless Vic, is very, 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 very tired. Okay, the clones who don't go back a ways may find you fresh, but the XL4TI has judged that call before, Mike, about 10 times before. Okay, Doctor, you have become the official jungle Mad Lib. I am richer than name of clone. I don't have a radio show because noun. I was on the jungle CD, that adjective. Iafrate was also on. Okay, Doc, If you're only going to call in presidential election years, perhaps you could offer up a new candidate once in a while, because we already voted the old guy out.
Iafrate's last Smackoff call came in 2016, directly after Lef sucked down a helium balloon en route to his first win. That gimmick, however, did not sit well with the poster boy for the old school jungle.
A bunch of posers have moved into our town and turned our Smackoff into a third-rate comedy show about each other. Now, don't get me wrong, Jim. Clone-on-clone smack was always a part of the calculus. It just wasn't the entire calculus. I mean, truly, what makes you losers think that any of us want to listen to you tell imaginative urine jokes about each other for 3 hours? I am back, Jim, because somebody has to speak up for your program's honor. Somebody has to defend the Smackoff from becoming the crack-off or the jack-off or the whack-off.
Once again, that was 2016, and that was his most recent call to the main event, and that was good enough for his 4th bronze medal. Now, the thing about Iafrate is you never know year to year if he's going to show up or not, and for good reason. My man's got some pretty heavy issues that he deals with on a daily basis in his line of work. Way heavier than anything we do here. So I've extended the invite. The intel I get back from Iafrate is if I can do it, I would love to do it, especially this year. But he does have a lot of people kind of pulling at him that need him to do other things. He's gone 4 years between Smackoff calls, so I can't necessarily assume the absence, but I would not be surprised if he doesn't show. I just want to make sure that he knows, in the form of this player profile, that he's always welcome, he makes the show better, and we really do need to hear what this guy has to say. This guy knows that he will go to the front of the line on whatever the day might be that he calls. Showing up next Friday would be a very, very pleasant surprise. But showing up and taking it down would make him just one of 3 dudes ever to win 3 rings. That would not be surprising to me. And you best believe he has the game to pull that off.
I want to talk sports with you. Jay Moore. I mean, I'm embarrassed to keep company with these people, but Jay is a movie star, and he stoops to compete with us, and he loses annually and comes back. I mean, hey, Shem, man, have a little freaking pride, will you? But have we fallen so far that we now crown the guy who reads best? Does anybody think there was even a millisecond of spontaneity in the Cowboy Nation's call today? Barbecue pigs are flying, Jim, because now the Kansas City Chiefs are super. Dodger manager Marty Schottenheimer has got to go. Please direct my attention, Jim, to the big postseason win where crafty Marty outsmarted the other manager and got the Dodgers a win the other team deserved. You can't because he never has, and he won't because he can't. Jimmy, I gotta welcome you back to the TV airwaves. The only thing better than that taste of vomit in my mouth when listening to Vic and NoCal is watching you fight back the vomit in your mouth while listening to Vic. I first called this show 20 full years ago, 20 full years of addiction to sport and addiction to the jungle, 20 years of everything from the roach to the rope, from Terrence to Trapper, from Esquire to the DDS, from yesterday's legends to today's clowns. 20 long, Jim, and I wish you all even a little taste of it. A very good night now.
Iafrate, in the long book of jungle lore and jungle history, he's got his own chapter, and it's somewhere right near the front. Like I said, a legend's legend. I hope he makes it that day. I hope that Iafrate makes it that day. He's given me his word that if he can, he will. There's your player profile, one of the best to ever do it. Man, he is acerbic. He is angry. He is old school. He's got no time for it. That Schottenheimer baseball manager blast, that was in direct response to me taking up for Dave Roberts, and he was having none of that. Iafrate wanted none of that. I don't know where you come out on Iafrate, but I'm here to tell you, I can't document this empirically, but I'm here to tell you he probably is the smartest guy in this here jungle. Definitely one of the most talented, and pound for pound, probably the smartest guy that calls. That good. So good, but he's right in the middle of everything that's going on nationally right now. So if we can get him, if I can pull him away for a few moments, we'll do so on Friday. If you're in the field, you probably don't want that.